Yo, what is up guys, Gray here, and today we have got our week 2 battle of the BBR. We're going up against PlatinumHowler and his Delta Gligars, and PlatinumHowler is one of those players that we just haven't beat, and yeah, we'll get into the team matchup in a minute, but it's certainly going to be a tough one. It's a bit of an uphill battle. Before we get into this, make sure to leave a like on the video to show your support. Subscribe if you really want to, just so we don't miss out on any of the Draft League content. And there's a whole load of other stuff I've got planned, so I'm actually going to start uploading hopefully semi-frequently, if not frequently. But yeah, let's get into the teams. First up, his team is Volcarona, Alakazam, Rotomwash, Lycanroc Dusk, Aromatisse, Dragalge, Pangoro, Sandslash, Stoutland, and Trevenant. And honestly, the bottom three of his team, I'm not all that worried about. I feel like I have a pretty good matchup against those. And also, I feel like I have a pretty decent matchup against Volcarona. I have things like Weavile, I say Weavile, yeah, that's a great Volcarona jack. Keldeo, Palisand, if it's specially defensive, can do a decent job of checking it. Centiskorch is a solid check to it as well with Flash Fire. And Goodra just straight up walls it. There isn't really any kind of set outside of like a U-turn toxic sort of thing that I can see him bringing, because Volcarona just gets checked by quite a lot of my team. However, it is good against things like the Weavile, the Skarmory, Executor. Comfey really can't hit for any damage, but things like Lycanroc, if it's scarfed, will outspeed the Volcarona before it can set up. Luxray, if it's scarfed as well, does a ton of damage to it. So I think there's always a good chance that if he brings it, it's not going to be... Oh no, I am changing mons in the background. Spoilers if you know the cries to those mons as to what I'm bringing. I don't even know I'm going to have the background music be music or if I'm going to have the in-game music. So for all I know, that could be completely irrelevant. But back to the point, I think Volcarona is not great. So I think the 6 that he's going to bring is Alakazam, Rotomwash, Lycanroc Dusk, Aromatisse, Dragalge, and Pangoro. Lycanroc Dusk is a really strong against my team. Things like Palisand and Skarmory can come in, but they don't necessarily appreciate it as coverage options. Pangoro and Dragalge are terrifying for my team. Dragalge I have virtually no checks to, same with Pangoro. Really the combination of Dark and Fighting is very strong against my team, and same with the Poison Dragon. Like, my best checks to it really aren't checks. Things like Skarmory still take, they got to be OHKO'd by Thunderbolt from Choice Specs. It still takes like 70% from a Draco Meteor if I'm not invested on the special side. So the only upside to those two mons is that they are quite slow. However, half of my team is also quite slow, and I'm going to have to probably rely on hopefully getting the right speed creeps to be able to beat those mons. But without further ado, let's get into my team. And first up, you guys asked for it. I had to oblige. We're bringing the Egg. Executor is the first mon, and like, there's nowhere else to start really. Leaf Storm, Giga Drain, Psyshock, and Calm Mind, holding the Colberberry with a modest nature and a good amount of defense EVs to try and be able to take it can take a Pangoro, Choice Band, Adamant, knockoff. It can take one of them. Certainly doesn't appreciate anything more, but then again, Pangoro doesn't really appreciate taking a Leaf Storm if it's Choice Banded. It will get OHKO'd at +1, and hopefully with my speed creep, I am going to be able to outspeed it, but it's not a certain thing at all. I'm running enough speed to outspeed speed creep of a speed creep. I think of a speed creep on Skarmory. I have... So Skarmory, with no investment, has 90 speed. If he predicts me to try and speed creep something, speed creep his speed creep, then he'll go up to 93 speed. And so I'm saying a 94 in hopes that he doesn't outspeed me, because if I can attack first before it can hit me, that's absolutely ideal. Same with the Dragalge. I can one-shot the Dragalge with Psyshock unless it is... I want to say it's Payapa Berry or Papaya Berry. It's one of the two. I can't remember which one is a Psychic Berry, but if it has a Psychic Resist Berry, then it can absolutely take one at +1. Sludge Wave hits real hard, and it's going to OHKO if it's Specs. If it's not specs, there is a chance that I live it. It's not a great chance, but it's a chance nonetheless. I think that's only a +1 though. I think only a +1 have got a chance. Lycanroc Dusk, if it goes for Crunch, will do around half. If it's not choice banded with the Colberry, I am able to take two, well, I'll be able to take one under half, and then I'll be able to take an Accelerock as well on top of that. Things like the Rotom and the Aromatisse are kind of set up fodder for me because neither can particularly touch me. Rotom Wash with its nasty plot doesn't really beat my team particularly well, so I think it's more likely to be a Fizz Def Rotom and potentially a it could be Mixed Bulk Rotom and Mixed Bulk Aromatisse, but that's really the only two mons on his team that are that bulky. He might bring a bulkier Volcarona set, but that would just be to check things like my Weavile and I guess to a lesser extent my Senscorch. But yeah, Exeggutor is just here to kind of wall break. Hopefully it can set up on the Rotom, and once it's set up to +1, it's actually a big threat to his team. Things like Trevenant will be able to take it on, but I honestly don't see Trevenant coming this week. If he does, I do have ways of dealing with it. Things like Scorch and Weavile on my team I think are going to be almost enough to be able to scare it off, and also things like Goodra and Skarmory honestly don't care that much. Comfey doesn't really care all that much, so I don't think Trevenant's coming this week. But on top of that, if he has Volcarona, outside of I can hit it for a Psyshock and do really, really good damage if I predict the switch into it. However, like I was choice specs before, and it was always going to come down to whether or not he goes Dragalge, whether he goes Pangoro, whether he goes Volcarona. And if I got the prediction wrong, then I had to sack him on. And that's why I just think Carmine with the Colbert is my safest option. I really need to like stop this screen from going dark. Like I don't know if there's an option somewhere, but yeah, that's our Exeggutor this week. It's really just kind of a wall breaker, and hopefully you can get a kill. I don't see it 6-0ing anyone this week, but you never know. There's always a chance. And then next up we have a familiar set. XQC are Weavile because he's a hyperactive kid. You have the Ice Shard, Triple Axle, Knockoff, and Leader Low Kick. It kind of just goes crazy in this game. It is choice banded, of course. Choice band Triple Axle will be able to 2-hit KO everything, or at least 2-hit KO everything on his team outside of like a physically defensive Volcarona and a physically defensive Rotom Wash. I think if he's specially defensive, there's a chance I 2-hit KO him, but most importantly, Knockoff hits both those mons for really, really good damage, and the only thing really stopping that is potentially a Flame Body Volcarona, which could be really, really annoying, but it is what it is. Pangoro, if it's physically defensive, will be able to take one quite well, but still, Choice Band Triple Axle will do a ton of damage. And if we get him low enough, then Low Kick, even with a Colbur Berry that potentially could be coming, it's still going to do a ton of damage. I think Colbur makes a lot of sense on Pangoro this week, but if that's the case, then my Exeggutor should actually be able to do a good chunk to it. Really, Weavile was just here to punch a hole through his Rotom Wash from my other team members to be able to do what they need to do in this game. I don't think that Weavile is going to be my win-con in this game, but if he brings the right mons, then there's a potential. But things like Cell Rock on Lycanroc and Bullet Punch on Pangoro, we've got to keep an eye out for, because both of those are gonna hurt. I don't think Bullet Punch will one-shot me unless it's like Adamant Band, and even then I think there's a chance I think it doesn't KO me from memory. Cell Rock 100% just destroys my life. But if we can get a Bandit Ice Shard off on that Lycanroc before we go down, then that's going to do a good 50%. But next up we have got MC Thunder, our Keldeo Resolute. We're bringing a Resolute form this week because we are bringing the Secret Sword. I'm tempted just to bring this every week, so even if we don't have it, we can potentially bluff it. Hydro Pump, Flip Turn, Secret Sword, and Toxic. Choice Scarfed again. I hate feeling like I'm running the same sets every week, but really Choice Scarf was my best option. His Alakazam and his Lycanroc both will be able to one-shot me, and both will be quicker than me. So I absolutely felt like I needed to outspeed those. If he brings a Choice Scarf Alakazam, then that's interesting. There's definitely a chance he brings it, but I think Focus Sash is generally better against my team. If he is Choice Scarf, he cannot break my Goodra particularly well. Spoilers, I'm bringing Goodra. It's not really a spoiler because I said it just checks, like completely walls Volcarona outside of a certain set. But this also forces Lycan Rock, if it's not Scarf, to go for a Cell Rock on me, which is going to do negligible damage really. Things to worry about for this set is Dragalge and Aromatisse. Both of them will be able to take the hits very well. The Toxic also is there for the Rotom should he bring it, but also it's mainly there for the Aromatisse to try and wear that down. If it's running Aromatherapy or Heal Bell, so be it. But at least being able to stop it from being able to click another move is always nice. And if he doesn't have them, then Toxic Poison is going to rack up on that Aromatisse and certainly opens things up for my threats like Weavile and honestly Exeggutor potentially in a later game. Yeah, so Keldeo is just really nice. Hydro Pump hits everything else on his team for very good damage outside the Trevenant. Again, Trevenant comes, then I would say it's probably a check to this thing. I was going back and forth between Toxic and Icy Wind, but I felt like Toxic was just more beneficial. Icy Wind does some damage to Trevenant and to Dragalge, but I really feel like both of those I probably just want to click Flip Turn, try and keep momentum if I feel like he's not going to stay in. And if I can keep up momentum, then that's like the main goal of this team, because it's very offensive if you haven't been able to tell already. Next up we have got our Center Scorch with Fire Lash, Leech Life, Power Whip and Knockoff with the heavy duty boots. And we're running a fairly specially defensive set with a relatively good amount of attack investment as well. Again, we're running the same speed creep on this as we are on the Exeggutor, running 94 speed. Hopefully to be able to outspeed his slower threats. But Fire Lash does a good chunk of damage to a lot of things on his team. Rotom Wash being probably his best switch into it, and we do have the Power Whip for that. We've also got Leech Life for the Alakazam because this is really my main switch into it. Spec Psyshock, really going to hurt. Life Orb Psyshock obviously going to hurt a lot as well, but I don't have that many great switch-ins to an Alakazam. Center Scorch, hopefully if I can catch him on a move where he's not clicking Psyshock. For example, if like my Weavile's in and he knows I'm locked into low kick, he's not going to click the Psyshock on my Weavile. I very much doubt he would. He might do, predicting a switch, but if that's the case, then something like a Focus Blast is not going to do too much damage to my Center Scorch, and we can just click Leech Life, we can click Knockoff, and we don't really hit Volcarona for too much damage, but just getting a Knockoff will be nice damage on that. Same with the Rotom Wash, like Knockoff is very spammable against his team, and just knocking off any item across his entire team will be really, really nice. Yeah, that's pretty much what the Center Scorch is for in this game. It's just really like a secondary special check to hopefully help with Volcarona should it turn up. It means I don't necessarily have to switch into my Goodra on the first turn. I can preserve my Goodra for something else. But moving up on, as you saw, we are actually bringing our Luxray this week with Wild Charge, Facade, Play Rough and Agility. Flame Orb, Guts, Adamant, with enough speed that at +2 we outspeed everything on his team without investment, without a Choice Scarf. As he doesn't really have that many great Choice Scarf options. This thing can do a ton of damage if put in the right position and could absolutely be a late game sweeper. Things like a Cell Rock from Lycan Rock are going to hurt, but I do have a fairly good amount of bulk because I only needed a small amount of EVs to outspeed his entire team without a Choice Scarfer. So I should be able to not be 2-hit KO'd by a Choice Banded, a Cell Rock from Jolly Lycan Rock. Things like Dragalge can probably take one, so I will need Chip on that. Pangoro will not take a Play Rough unless it is Roselli Berry, and honestly, I don't feel like Roselli Berry makes too much sense in this matchup. He may bring it. It's definitely a potential bring because I have Lycan Rock with Play Rough as well, and Comte is obviously a big problem for him in terms of that Pangoro. Outside of that, there's really nothing that can take a hit outside of maybe like a Focus Sash Alakazam, but that puts it down to its Sash, and Weavile can come in and click Ice Shard. Alternatively, if he's Focus Sash, I don't need to click Ice Shard, I can just click the Knockoff and get a free item knocked off. Basically, Luxray is here just if I can potentially get that agility off, then it's going to be just putting in so much damage to his team. And it doesn't care about the Flame Body from Volcarona, doesn't care about a Will-O-Wisp from Rotom. The only thing it does really care about is a Toxic, but at the same time, that's still going to activate my Guts. And sure, I'm not going to have as many turns to be able to do damage, but it's still going to do a ton of damage to his team. The only issue I might have is setting up an agility. I think the only things I realistically can set it up on are his Aromatisse and his Rotom Wash. Depending on which set they're running, I think that's probably my best chance. They do have a bit more special defense investment to be able to set up on them. Outside of that, I think potentially Stoutland could be set up on. And again, I don't really have anything for Trevenant on this, but I have other mons that I feel can deal with Trevenant. I really hope that my lack of prep for that mon doesn't come back to bite me, but I just feel like it doesn't have a great matchup here. And last up, we have got Big Dripper Lagudra with the Assault Vest, Draco Meteor, Sludge Bomb, Rock Slide, and Power Whip. Really the best coverage I could find against his team. It hits almost everything for super effective damage, and the stuff that it doesn't hit for super effective damage is going to be doing a ton of damage to regardless. Draco Meteor is pretty spammable once the Aromatisse goes down. Sludge Bomb gives me a chance to 2-hit KO a physically defensive Aromatisse, and also gives me the poison chance, a better poison chance than Sludge Wave, though Sludge Wave would give me a much better chance to 2-hit KO with a Aromatisse with leftovers. So, but we can eat up the Moonblast from Aromatisse quite comfortably, and Rock Slide is there for the Volcarona. It will one-shot a Volcarona with what I believe will be the investment he has. I think if he is running it this week, then he's going to have it with either a Modest or I guess Adamant if he's running U-Turn. I think it's probably going to be Modest or something similar. I don't think he's running max speed Volcarona in this matchup because I don't think he cares about Comfey with Volcarona. And so he's going to speed creep for my Lycanroc next. I think he just needs to be Modest with like 230 something speed to be able to outspeed my Lycanroc. So Rock Slide should OHKO it with the investment that I've got, and the investment that I believe that he might have, unless he's Charty Berry of course, but even then there's nothing that Volcarona can realistically do outside of Toxicking me that's going to give me any kind of problems. I do outspeed the Dragalge and will be able to, hopefully I outspeed the Dragalge. I'm not running a massive amount of speed on this Gudra, so hopefully I'll be able to outspeed the Dragalge and throw off Draco Meteor, which should do a good enough chunk that it pretty much dies to everything on my team. Pangoro, unless it's Assault Vested, does not appreciate a Draco Meteor particularly, and Power Whip is just there for the Rotom and the Lycanroc Dusk. It will do a solid amount of damage to both of them, and yeah, that is the team. It's been, so when I was building for this, it was, I literally had every single member of my team at one point on this squad. I couldn't decide on what I wanted to bring, whether I wanted to go balanced, whether I wanted to go offensive, whether I wanted to bring like hazards, whether I like hazard stack, do I want to bring like screens. There were so many things that I attempted to put into this team, and I just feel like at the end of the day I need to try and out offense his offense. I feel like his defensive mons can't really check mine particularly well. Certainly like Rotom doesn't have the longevity, and Aromatisse can be worn down through Toxic, through Knockoff, through like coverage moves. Also things like Exeggutor is great for just wearing things down. As long as I outspeed, of course, as long as I outspeed the Dragalge and the Pangoro. But yeah, this one's going to be a rough one. I don't feel as confident in this one as I did in my week one, and week one I probably still had a pretty bad matchup. I know Matt was fairly like happy with his matchup, and that's not me trying to knock him or anything like that. I watched his video, and he said that he felt the matchup was pretty good for him. I think this matchup is also pretty good for Howler this week. So we're just gonna play aggressively. We're gonna try and make predictions, because I think that's how I win this game. I think I have to keep just wearing away at things and keep making the right calls when I need to. So yeah, I guess that is a team builder over. I will see you guys in the battle in a minute. And once again, don't forget to like the video down below if you are enjoying this season. If you're enjoying my content, it really, really I really appreciate the support. I've loved seeing like the views and all the comments that you guys have been leaving. I try to reply to all of them, and if I don't reply immediately, it's because I don't always get notifications, and it's only until I go on the video itself that I actually see that there's comments. But anyway, I'm wasting more time. I'm actually going to try and remember to put a timestamp in this video, so you guys can just skip all of this bullshit if you want to and go straight to the battle. But anyway, let's get on with the battle. Yo, what's up guys, Future Jack here, and just wanted to preface this battle by first off saying that I was actually going to re-record this, but I decided against it. I was going to do a post-com instead, but I feel like my live com thoughts, even though they weren't the best, probably because of the following reasons, I feel like live com was still just worth keeping. But by the time we actually got this game going, we first off had a disconnect before we even connected effectively, and it's about 2:30 in the morning by the time the battle started. And this is fine. Like it's the first time that I've live commed a game that late, and I said it was fine. Of course, like we were meant to battle at 1, but with some other difficulties, I was running late. Howler was running late. We just ended up being late starting, and then during the battle we had quite the connection issues. I'm sure his side is going to be edited as well, because there was like 5-minute delays between turns, and that was the main reason I wanted to re-record, is because I could just skip over those points and it would flow together much better. But I've decided to keep the live com, and first off, I'm going to sound very tired by the end of the battle. I'm fairly sure I'm just going to sound absolutely shattered. That's because I actually was, and with the disconnects, it kind of drew me out of the battle, and I felt more and more tired as the game went on, just because it wasn't keeping my attention. And yeah, once my attention's kind of gone from the game, I started feeling really tired, and I think my commentary was just subpar. But anyway, if there's any weird edits, it's because that is a point in which we disconnected, or we didn't disconnect, we just had an issue connecting. Yay for land timer. Like, it is what it is though. No excuses, obviously, for me not being able to commentate properly. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the battle nonetheless. If you do, make sure to leave a like. I've probably said this like 3 times in my other recordings. I haven't actually watched the other videos. I haven't even edited yet. But for all I know, I could sound absolutely fine and there's no issues at all. But I just wanted to make sure that this was a hit, just in case. But yeah, I'm not going to waste any more of your guys' time. Hope you guys enjoyed the battle, and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, so take 2. We are here with the battle. Yeah, I think we're good now. First time we DC, so let's just pray to the land timer gods that we do not DC again. Before we get into this, I would like to just say go and show some love to my opponent, PlatinumHowler. Really great guy. Yeah, we faced each other many times in leagues, and like I said in Team Builder, we haven't actually beat him yet, but let's press A. Let's see what he's bringing. Like I said, I think it's the Aromatisse, Lycanroc, Rotom, Dragalge, Pangoro, and the Alakazam. And he brings all of those, except for he doesn't bring Pangoro, which is actually really, really nice. He does bring the Volcarona. I think it might be like some kind of toxic U-turn set, which could be a bit of a problem. But we do have the eggs, so I think we just win. Realistically, I think I need to keep my Goodra as healthy as I can. I don't think I need to switch it into... I think it has to be my switch in... Actually, I got the Executor. I was about to say it has to be my switch in for the Rotom. Here I'm kind of just happy to lead off with Keldeo. It covers quite a few of his leads, and if he goes into Dragalge, I think I flip turn, and my most expendable Mon... I know it's turn 1, I'm thinking of expendable Mons. I think that has got to be the... it's got to be the Center Scorch here. I think it's probably got the worst matchup out of all of these. And I have a feeling he might lead off with either Lycanroc or Volcarona, so I just want to kind of cover those 2 leads. If he leads with Dragalge, it's a bit annoying, but we're going to lock it in. We're going to lead off with Keldeo, and and go from there. Hopefully he is not Choice Scarf on the Alakazam. That would be fantastic, though Focus Sash is still going to be a problem. Good luck, have fun to my opponent, and let's just hope for no hacks. He actually went for the whole, is it Holbury Stadium? We'll see which one we get. Oh, it's taken a little while to log it. Login? Yep. That's the words I'm looking for. We get the Motorstoke Arena. It's just Dragging Me to Hell. That is his Aromatisse. I think I just want to switch out and go into... well, I'll Flip Turn. I think Flip Turn is my play here. It does give away that I got it. This is lagging so bad. I'm really hoping it doesn't disconnect. If it does disconnect, then hopefully the earlier the better. And this is taking so long. It's the first time that I've had a LAN battle actually take the time, so looking at his team, like, no Pangoro is absolutely ideal for me. I'm surprised he did bring the Volcarona. It has the opportunity to sweep late game, but I just don't think it's going... I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get swept by it, but I don't think it's got the best matchup. Yeah, this is taking a fair amount of time to load up. I think that DC before may have been a sign of things to come. I think we may have to end up changing servers, but I really hope that we can just get this to work. It's definitely taking its time though. Oh man. Hopefully I don't have to edit and cut this into bits. There we go. We're going to go for the Flip Turn here. Just switch straight out. I have no reason to try and predict around this thing. He's probably just going to go for a Moonblast, which means I can go into my Scent Scorch and just click Knock Off and get a free knock on anything that wants to switch in. But we're going to see. Hopefully this timer isn't this. The LAN isn't going to take 3 years to actually complete the battle. So he actually withdraws. Hopefully if he goes into his Dragalge, that does give me a switch. It does go into Dragalge. That is fine. That gives me a fairly free Weavile, and I can just click Triple Axle and start getting some damage off. Alternatively, what else could I do? I could go into Executor, but I don't know if I outspeed. I think that's definitely risky. I think going for just a Triple Axle is my play here. I do kind of need to go for the Triple Axle and just hope for the best. Certainly hope that it's not going to miss. He is Black Sludge. That's really good information because that means he may be more defensive than I thought. Triple Axle should do a very solid amount of damage. Let me just quickly calc it. Yeah, we're just going to go for the Triple Axle here. I'm not messing around. This Dragalge is a problem if it stays in, and we get some good damage off on something else as well. If he goes into... yeah, he's going to switch. It's a very strong chance he was going to switch. He actually goes into his Aromatisse. If we get all 3 hits on this, that is absolutely ideal. Going to get 1. That is some good damage. We get 2. We only get 2. That's a little rough. That is certainly a little rough. I think I want to probably go into my Scent Scorch here. It seems like my safest switch in. He may predict that and go into Rotom. He may make a middle ground and go into Rotom. Alternatively, I could go into my Executor and try and catch both of those. I think Scent Scorch is kind of expendable here, and it does give me a free chance to Fire Lash against his team. So yeah, I think that's what I want to do. I really want to save the Executor to be a switch into Rotom, so I think switching Scent Scorch into the Aromatisse is probably my best play on what is potentially a Wish, potentially... well, we're going to see what moves it's going to go for. I don't think there's anything that's really going to threaten my Scent Scorch particularly. I don't think it gets a Rock-type move, but I could be caught off guard by some random Ancient Power Aromatisse. That would be wild. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at all. But it does seem like the LAN timer is getting better. I hope I don't curse it, as he does just go for the Wish. I'm just going to go for a knockoff. I think that is my best middle ground play. I don't think there's anything this Aromatisse can realistically do to hurt me. He may just go for a protect and scout and get this thing back up to full. That's absolutely fine with me. I still just think the knockoff is my best play, because whatever switches in is going to be back up at full regardless of what move I go for. If I can knock off an item on the Rotom, that would be absolutely fantastic for me. So he's going to switch out, and we're going to see the Dragalge here. That's kind of fine. I think knockoff it's pretty nice. It's knocking off the Black Sludge. We do a reasonably good amount of damage actually, but we really cannot touch this at all. Nothing on my team particularly wants to switch in. This is... perhaps I should have seen that coming and switched before. I could have made a switch into Weavile if I was expecting that, but I didn't go for an aggressive play. Man. Realistically, I don't want to switch anything in on this because I don't want my Goodra to be taking too much damage. And sadly, I don't have anything really else to switch in. So I think here I'm just going to let my Sense Scorch take some damage and go for a Fire Lash into a knockoff. I'm hoping that maybe he goes into his Rotom here. Potentially he just goes for the Dragon type move. You do outspeed, that's very good information. That means my Exeggutor also outspeeds. So that's really, really nice. As he's going to set up Toxic Spikes. That's a little rough. I'm not going to lie, that's a little rough. But I definitely expected that to potentially turn up in this game. So, can't be mad at all. I'm just going to keep spamming Fire Lash. Because I see like no reason not to. Kind of at this point, I'm just looking for chip damage on this. Sure, we can push it back up with the Aromatisse at some point, but if we can get the get our turns right and catch that trip, like if I got all 3 turns on that triple axle, that'd be an absolutely ideal. Potentially a Draco Meteor coming in here, but we are slowly whittling away. It actually goes for the flip turn. I did not realise this thing got flip turn, and we get a Flame Body, so that's really nice for some residual damage as well. As I guess he goes into a Rotom potentially here. Into the Rotom. I don't think it's time to sack the Sense Scorch just yet. I definitely think it's probably time to go into... I can go into my Exeggutor. That does bring in the... the Volcarona, which is not great, but I have put the Dragalge in range of, I think, everything on my team, barring Keldeo and Center Scorch, so that's kind of nice. I'm not going to go into Exeggutor. If he Volt switches and goes into Volcarona afterwards, that's a nice play. Annoyingly, the Goodra is going to be whittled away. I think that's possibly the biggest issue I have, so I need to try and preserve it for as long as I can and not bring it in. So I think I'll bring Center Scorch back in on the Volcarona this time, as he does just go for the Volt Switch. So he shouldn't take any damage from this. I would take good damage. Is that Choice Specs? Yeah, it might be Specs. It certainly looks somewhat offensive. In comes the Volcarona. As expected, it's going to be a little bit annoying, so I think I do go into the Sense Scorch here. Taking all of this poison damage is actually really, really rough. Yeah, especially... It's sort of negating any select potential we have. I'm going to go into my Sense Scorch. I think it's the better switch in at this point. And if he wants to go out into his Aromatisse, I'm going to make something of an aggressive play, I think, and go back into my Exeggutor, so he can't go back into his Dragalge, because he doesn't actually have a switch in to Psyshock. If I had brought Specs on this, it would have been so nice, but I definitely expected Pangoro to turn up. And we're going to see what he wants to go for. He goes for a sub. I think I should be able to break this sub. Maybe it's sub-toxic, or something similar. Fire Lash should be able to break this sub, over the long term anyway, as he's going to go for a Fire Blast. This will do a good chunk to me. Yeah, we're going to be able to break its sub. I'm kind of okay with taking my sacking my Sense Scorch to this. but I mean, would knockoff be able to? How much does knockoff do? Knockoff should be able to do a good chunk to it. Man, I didn't see what... I gotta start looking at what damage, what health I'm at beforehand. I've got max HP on this. And I am not Flash Fire, I'm Flame Body. In hindsight, Flash Fire may have been nicer. Fire Blast. Yeah, I think that's about that damage. I'm at 69 health. I'm probably going down to another. So I'm going to go out into my... I think it's just time. I think I swap out into my Gudra. I used up a lot of time early on here. I'm going to have to start looking at time a bit more. And annoyingly, we are going to get poisoned. He may just go for a sub here. It goes for the Fire Blast. Okay. That doesn't do a lot, but with the poison damage, it's going to start racking up. It's going to be very annoying. Here, I think I just want to go for a Sludge Bomb, predicting the Aromatisse to come in. At the same time, I don't want this to take any more damage, particularly. I could also go into my Center Scorch and predicting that to come in and go for another Fire Lash. I could also go for a knockoff. I think I just want to go for the Sludge Bomb on this turn. Because I definitely think the Aromatisse is coming in. It's his best switch into this. If we get the poison off on the Aromatisse, that'd be really, really nice. He does withdraw. Expecting the Aromatisse. Now he goes out into the Rotom. It's a solid middle ground, but this actually does give me some good damage on the Rotom. And potentially a poison. No, we don't get poison. That's unlucky. Do I want to stay in and just click Power Whip? I'm not sure. Could always go back out into my Exeggutor, but I still feel like it has a role to play because it does outspeed the Dragalge. I can bring it in, I click Psyshock, and Psyshock is pretty free in this game. I mean, Scent Scorch is definitely expendable. I think I'm just going to stay in, and I'm just going to stay in. I'm going to click Sludge Bomb again, expecting the Volt Switch out into the Aromatisse, because that's not going to do any damage, but this poison is definitely hurting me. But knowing that he is sub Volcarona, he's probably sub Fire Blast, Roost, Bug Buzz maybe. As he goes out into the Dragalge, I'm kind of surprised that he went into this. So I'm just going to Sludge Bomb. I should have just clicked Draco. If I click Draco, this thing's dead. But well, it is what it is. I think at this point, I just don't have a switch into this, but I think he's going to go out into his Aromatisse. I kind of want to just go out into my Scent Scorch as like a middle ground play. If he does attack me, then it's not the end of the world. He may just go for a flip turn, but I'm slowly weakening things to a point in which I should be able to get a late game with Luxray. So he's going to withdraw, probably into the Aromatisse, expecting the Draco. There we go. And I kind of want to go for a Fire Lash just to put this, do some damage to this. But I also kind of want to go into my Luxray, because I don't think that he's clicking. Like, I could start putting some pressure on with my Luxray here. I can't let him Wish Pass back, because I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to Wish Pass here, and this may be a bit of a misplay, but I reckon he's going for the Wish and he's going to try and pass it back into Dragalge. So if I can just start doing some damage to stuff, that'd be fantastic, as he does just go for the Wish. Man, I don't want to give anything on his team a free switch. but at the same time I do kind of want to just go for an agility. How much is my Lux Raid doing to Dragalge? I am adamant. Level 50 to Dragalge. Toxic Spike set, but I don't think it's going to matter. Oh man, I have a chance to kill it after. I think I just hit something with Facade here. Let's have a look. Aromatisse, Defensive Cleric. Facade's doing about half, so yeah, I'm going to click Facade here. And this should do a fairly good amount of damage. That is a very good amount. And he's going to be able to wish back that amount of health. And man, I might be stuck in a loop here. Because I don't think I can do any more damage than what I just did. It does look especially defensive. If he tries to go for a wish here, then that kind of sucks. I think I may have played too aggressive, and potentially going for a Fire Lash on that turn was the play, and then I couldn't let the Dragalge back in for free, so I don't think I can question that. Alternatively, I could go into my this, but then it does allow his Volcarona back in, and I think he's just going to start Wish protecting on me, and I'm going to start just losing health. So I'm going to make the double out into Executor. I'm getting whittled down very much by these Toxic Spikes. They are certainly not helping me. Potentially bring a Skarmory would have been a play this week, but I felt like there was just too much that could potentially cause me problems. And here I think I can go for a Calm Mind. It's either that or I go for a Psyshock. I do think he potentially goes for a Wish. He could also go into the Volcarona, but I think I just need to start playing aggressively. I think he's going to go for a Wish here, and if that's the case, then I would very much appreciate the damage, as he is going to go for the Wish, and there's nothing on his team that realistically can switch into a Psyshock at +1. I think he's going to go for Protect, but then he's got to take that hit. He's got to take a hit on something. So he may Protect here. I'm not feeling ballsy enough to Calm Mind on the potential Protect. To the Dragalge, that's kind of nice for me. He chooses to keep the Aromatisse around, but we do get rid of Dragalge, which was a bit of a problem for my team. Crit did not matter. Did not matter at all. But I'm thinking I definitely cursed the timer. Like 100% cursed it. As he actually gets to go back in his Volcarona. Honestly, at this point, I think Executor's got so few turns left. I don't particularly want to let this Volcarona set up a sub again, so I'm going to click the Psyshock, I think, if it comes out here. But pretty much anything on his team could now come out and do the job. Kind of wish I went for Giga Drain just to get some health back, but I would have got so little whack from Dragalge. I don't think it matters too much, as he is going to go into his Volcarona. We do still have Send Scorch around in the back. I think potentially Executor has done all it's going to do. How do I... Damn, I am so bad at looking things. Okay. It is a good switch into Rotom, but actually I think not allowing this to sub up and then coming in with my Keldeo and just clicking Hydro Pump is looking really, really nice. I've also got to look at the timer because I am running out real quick. So here I'm just not going to let him... If he misses... if he missed that, that'd be real nice, but it is what it is. We get coming in our Keldeo now and just click Hydro Pump. The Rotom's probably not going to appreciate it too much. Is that the play I want to make? I think that's the play I want to make. So I can get rid of Rotom, then my Weavile's looking really nice. But these Toxic Spikes are certainly a pain to deal with. I don't particularly want to predict anything here. I think I'd just go for the Hydro Pump to get the maximum damage. And we'll see how much we are doing to this Rotom. It could be especially defensive just to take on this Keldeo, but I certainly have switch-ins to it. Not having a ground type on this team. There's so many things in hindsight that I wish I had, but at the same time, like, I had one Palisand set that was like Amnesia, which could have worked. Certainly could have worked now that like I knew that Dragalge isn't choice specs, but against the choice specs it just didn't matter. Best case here is that he lets me take this, but he doesn't. And he is going to go out into his Rotom. Potentially I need to start playing a little bit more aggressively. Can we hit the Hydro? Okay, that's rough. That's certainly rough. That's not what you want to see. I can go into... A Center Scorch is actually looking pretty nice at this point. It's looking alright. I think it's my switch in. I think it does give him the least opportunities to switch into other things. If he goes for a Hydro Pump here, he goes for a Hydro Pump. If he goes for a Volt Switch, we should just eat it up, hopefully. I think at that much we should be able to eat up one. But he gets to go into any offensive mon, basically here, and pick up the KO. Unfortunately, we are getting just slowly whittled down by everything on the field. And it's looking rough, not gonna lie, it's looking rough, but I was always going to in this matchup. I'm kind of regretting not bringing any hazard removal at all this week. Potentially Comfey would be nice just to defog away. But if he brought choice specs, then Comfey wasn't amazing. It did stop him from spamming Draco, but at the same time, Sludge Wave was pretty free unless I brought Skarmory, and then if I bring Skarmory, it's like he clicked Thunderbolt, and if I don't bring Palisand, then Thunderbolt's free. Now, do I want to give up my Center Scorch here? I think I do, just on the off chance that he misses the Fire Blast here. I'm going to go for the knockoff. He does go for the Fire Blast. He stays hitting Fire Blast, and we are unfortunately going to lose our Center Scorch. If I had hit the Hydro Pump on the last turn round, man, we'd be in such a great position. Potentially at this point, my Weavile gives him less options than my Keldeo does. If I click Flip Turn, I should have clicked Flip Turn with Keldeo. I think I might do that. I think this turn round I go Keldeo and I click Flip Turn and try and get my Weavile back in. He could be Choice Scarf on that Rotom. Thinking about it, he could be Choice Scarf. I haven't seen him switch moves. It is what it is, it's the game we play. He is going to stay in this time. It's kind of unfortunate. I think he's probably just going to go for the Fire Blast on this turn. I think we're losing all of our answers to things on his team. I think my only chance, realistically, is Weavile just clicking Double Iron Bash. This is fine. I think this is alright. I'm not sure if I live a Quiver Dance, a Bug Buzz from this range. But I'm just going to click the Rock Slide. I have no reason to overpredict. I'm surprised that he's brought this set, in all honesty. He goes for the sub. I really hope I don't miss, because he does actually put himself in range of the Flip Turn, so I can come straight back out with my Keldeo and hope that he isn't outspeeding me. I don't see any reason why he would. I think I'm still out of range of Fire Blast here, so I think potentially my middle ground play is to go for a Sludge Bomb. He is quite low. I've got to click moves quick actually at this point, so I think any damage is good damage. He may go for a Hurricane, and he hits, man, he hits a Hurricane as well. Yeah, at this point I think I just gotta hope. How much is Weavile doing for this? Weavile, Choice Band to a Volcarona. It's a Volcanion, Volcarona, Quiver Dance. Ice Shot's probably not doing enough. I think I got to risk potentially being slower. Here's where I wish I really just speed crept the Volcarona here. Alternatively, he could just miss the Hurricane. That would be real nice if he could do that. We do outspeed. Okay. And he doesn't really have much to deal with Weavile. But I think I have to go into my Luxray here. Because if he clicks Cell Rock with his Lycan Rock, then my Weavile dies. And the only thing I have now to really check it is the Keldeo. This is not looking good, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I played this particularly well. The Toxic Spikes have really messed me up in this game. I think I was never really that confident with my prep because I kept changing it, and I think it shows because like I don't have switch-ins. I'm not making the sacks. I'm really not playing as aggressive as I need to be. We'll see what he goes into here. I'm kind of expecting the Zam. Potentially the Lycan Rock. I think the Lycan Rock is probably like the safest mid-ground play. I kind of wish I clicked Secret Sword there because he did have a switch in outside of Zam. And he does go into his Zam. Man, I just want to try and get some damage off on this. I'm going to go for the Facade. He's probably just going to kill me with Psychic. And then I think I have to go for Dazzling Gleam. He could well be Scarfed. Looking at that, he could well be Scarfed. Man, I think I just need to hit some triple axles and hope for the best. It's not the best game plan, but there's part of me that thinks I should have gone into Weavile there, but like I'm running out of time. I've just got to start clicking buttons. If he is Scarfed, then it doesn't really matter anyway. We're going to see here whether or not he is. He's not. We do hit the Hydro Pump, which is nice. I don't think we're going to be able to KO though. We're not. We do put it. I think I should have just gone into Weavile. We live on 1, but we're going to go down to the Toxic. That's really unfortunate. We actually just lose. Well, that was a horrible, horrible play. We actually just lose the Lycan Rock now. So good game to Howler. I definitely could have played this one better. I'm not gonna lie. I definitely could have played it better. I gotta lock myself into something. A Cell Rock just kills me. If he's not got a Cell Rock, I have a chance. But I think he probably just sacks this off now, and he brings in his Lycan Rock. He switches, which is interesting. Goes into Lycan Rock on this. So you're saying there's a chance. We need to hit L3. Okay, so we get rid of the Lycan Rock. But I mean, do we just lose to Aromatisse now? I don't know. It depends on whether we get 3 hits, I think, on the Aromatisse. We may just lose to the Rotom. He goes to Aromatisse. Oh, he's at way too much health. I think we need a crit. I think our only way of winning here is to get a crit. This is where hitting all 3 of them earlier would have been amazing. We are going to hit all 3. We aren't going to get a crit low, so that is definitely going to be game. I'm not living a Moonblast, I don't think. Certainly not living Moonblast plus Toxic Spikes. So, good game to Howler. There's a couple of missed opportunities. I definitely think that if I had hit the Hydro Pump and if I hit 3 on the triple axles, I had a much better chance of winning that game. But unfortunate, but it is what it is. We can't win them all, and unfortunately we still remain unable to defeat Howler in all competitions. So yeah, once again, good game to my opponent. Make sure to go check him out. His link will be down in the description with all the other coaches. And without rambling on, we go to 1-on-1. I think we're -2 now. I think that was a 3-0. And yeah, until the next one, have a great day, guys. Peace.